People all across this country trying to wrap up their weeks, and what are you doing? You're watching college basketball on CBS, and we welcome you to the 1997 NCAA tournament.
CBS Sports presents Pennzoil at the Half, sponsored by Pennzoil, the first motor oil to fully meet the new, tougher GF2 standard.
Welcome to Pennzoil at the Half. I'm Pat O'Brien, along with Clark Kellogg. USC shooting 42%, but they're down by 15. That's not good, but you say... defense.
They have a chance if they can start turning Illinois over, but guess what? Illinois only has 4 turnovers. USC forces 20 a game on the season. That will have to change in order for USC to try to get back in. And Kevin Turner having a big half, knocking down 3-point shots.
46-31 halftime score. Out in the East, first round action, South Carolina and Coppin State, a 15-2 game, and South Carolina leads by 5. 13:50 left in the ball game. Let's go courtside right now, where Mike Gorman and John Sunvold are there in Pittsburgh at the Pittsburgh Civic Arena. Enjoy the game.
13 minutes, 45 seconds to go here, second half. Coppin State just refusing to go away in this game. The South Carolina Gamecocks and their vaunted threesome in the backcourt of Mackey, Watson, and Davis really held in check by his own defense today as Mackey finally springs loose for just his 3rd field goal. And South Carolina has a 7-point 47-40 lead.
Much too easy for Frank Mitchell's defense to allow Mackey to just go to the free throw line and hit the open jump shot, because it only takes one shot for these guys to get on a roll, and they're all streaky shooters.
Singletary, though, with the quick answer for Coppin State. And the Eagles hang around down 5. Stack, who has been terrific here for South Carolina this afternoon. He already has 11, averages only 6 a game. Skip pass, Larry Davis. Warwick did a good job finding Mackey. They find Larry Davis, front rims the 3, rebound out to Welch.
Good penetration that time by Mackey. Davis now 0 of 5, and he is the leading scorer on this ball club at over 16 points a ball game.
And a careless turnover there as Singletary was trying to drop it down to Turquin Mott. William Gallman's come back into the game for South Carolina. Carlisle goes to the bench. Davis is also going to sit down. Watson back in. So Watson, Larry Davis, and Mackey all on the court right now, with Gallman and Sack. Eddie Fogler back to his starting 5 with 12:31 to go in the game.
Coppin State hanging around, doing a nice job, want to give themselves an opportunity. Last 4 or 5 minutes to go in this ball game.
The way they have played through the first 28 minutes or so, I'm going to be surprised if they're not there.
Yeah, you're right. And the closer it gets to the end and the closer this ball game is, the more these fans in this building will respond to Coppin State.
Well, South Carolina has just made a lot of kind of lackadaisical passes here today. That's a travel on William Gallman as he tries to go to the basket. I mean, players are just not able to catch the ball, John, in any kind of shooting position because they're jumping to make the catch.
Yeah, you can tell by the body language, just not into it yet. And they better not wait too long.
And we see Larry Davis still on the bubble. 7 for 21. The trio of guards. Brockington doesn't get the bounce, and Stack is up big. Boy, Stack has been the man if South Carolina advances. Ryan Stack ought to get a free lunch.
And Coppin State gets back defensively. South Carolina has not been able to push and find easy looks in the transition.
That foul's going to be on Reggie Welch. He picks up his 2nd. We have got a timeout. 11:38 left to go here in Pittsburgh. And the 15 seed Coppin State is just down 5. Of the SEC, South Carolina have their hands full this afternoon with Coppin State from the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. The SEC just 1 and 2 so far in the tournament. And the big upset today, Chattanooga, a number 14 taken out of number 3. And Coppin State trying to be a 15, taken out of 2. Mackey tees one up. No rebound. Stack keeps it alive twice, and then Mott is there on the other side.
Well, they had a good offensive set. Mock will get caught for this.
And so South Carolina not playing really well, and Coppin State trying to take advantage of that, Clark Kellogg.
Nice matchup zone is causing the perimeter guys for South Carolina some problems.
All right, Georgetown wasn't playing really well in the first half as well, but now they've stepped up their game, especially Victor Page. He has 10 points now, only 2 in the first half. Let's go courtside, take you with us, and Billy Packer and Bob Carpenter are there with the call down in Tucson.
Victor Page with the turnover, and Colson takes on Sheffy and draws the foul baseline left after Georgetown really had an unforced error there, giving the ball away at midcourt.
You know, it was interesting there watching Colson. He pretended as if he was going to pull the ball back out, realized that Georgetown had kind of gone to sleep on him, and then took off to the basket.
Ed Sheffy with his 3rd foul. We've got a couple of key players playing with 3. There's a good entry pass. DeMarco Johnson up strong, and the backdoor rebound by Tremaine Gardner of Charlotte. His 2nd basket of the day, and the 49ers now over the Hoyas by 10.
Well, there's Gardner averaging 2.5 a game, and Shaw averaging 4 a game, and these 2 guys have been the offense because DeMarco Johnson has not been able to get untracked at all.
With that miss, he's now 1 for 9. Sheffy with penetration. Colson took it away, gets it back from Shaw. Victor Page knocks it away.
2 incredible plays on both ends of the floor, and Victor Page really did a nice job chasing this down. A nice clean play here. You'll see him come across, gets all ball.
Victor Page struggling offensively.
All right, and so it's 51-41. Georgetown hasn't lost in the first round in 16 years, and they don't want it to happen today. They're down by 10. Out in the Midwest, Boston University and Tulsa, 57-33 in the second half, as that game has 13:20 left. Let's get you up to date, tell you what's going on tonight here on CBS. Jim Nance steps in here at 7:30. Then at 7:40, Providence and Marquette, Old Dominion and New Mexico, Temple, Mississippi, and we get our first look at Tim Duncan, Wake Forest against St. Mary's at 7:55. Thanks for joining us on Pennzoil at the half. Enjoy the second half here on CBS.
Pennzoil at the half was sponsored by Pennzoil, the first motor oil to fully meet the new, tougher GF2 standards.
Double team comes. He goes the other way.
That's a strong move. Strong move, fakes, goes back to his left shoulder. Powerful move inside by Mott. Big basket.
Davis almost lost that dribble in the corner. Got it back. Wow.
To the shorter, partially blocked, and here they come again.
Singletary. Yes.
And now this crowd is back into this ball game.
It's 49 apiece with 9 to go. And this has very definitely turned into a road game right now for South Carolina.
And then maybe a positive because the players may respond to the crowd that's going to be against them here at this point of the ball game.
But it can't help but help the Coppin State players.
No kidding.
There goes Watson to the basket again. They got to count it?
Oh, I can't believe they'll count this one.
Neither can Fang.
Melvin Watson, again, only one of the trio that has performed well this afternoon. And the dribble drive, he's done it time and time again, is very good with the basketball. But watch this. Here's the foul. Then he takes a step and lays it home. Not at this level, is it, Mike?
No comment, Coach. No comment. Eddie Fogel's going back to his bench as Wilborn, Davis, and Carlisle all check in. Stack, Gallman, and Mackey sit down. Watson will be at the line looking to complete the three-point play and open up a three-point lead after Coppin State had fought back and tied this game at 49. Watson rolls home the free throw. Let's see how Coppin State responds to that momentary adversity. Singletary backing his way down, shut off. Brockington comes up firing. Rebound right back to Singletary. Got it.
South Carolina not getting to the ball. Coppin State playing with a lot of confidence. That's just really lack of movement by South Carolina, both ends of the court.
Wilborn, that's the kind of pass I mean. Wilborn is 7 feet tall, and he has to jump to make the catch. Watson, defense right there. Mott, fast break. Brockington on Davis. Davis the foul. Brockington springs to his feet. And Coppin State a chance to get the lead at the line.
Melvin Watson forces the issue on one end, and here comes the crowd. Here's the force of the issue. Good defense, the block, and off to the races. Brockington takes it strong. Herbert Lee Davis, we talked about the jumping ability, but the contact with the lower body.
Brockington says, no thanks to the extended hand. I'll make my way to the line myself. We are tied at 52. 17 for Antoine Brockington. Coppin State's got the lead. For the first time since it was 6-4, the Eagles of Coppin State are up by 1.
Well, let's summarize this one with 7:47 remaining. Georgetown has really improved its shooting since halftime. Will it be enough to come back? They've cut down their turnovers. Victor Page now has 15, still playing with those 4 fouls.
Well, that's really critical, and you can see that Melvin Watkins has come back with cool. He sat on that bench for quite some time, so that gives him a little bit more power down inside and not the foul trouble. He's still got 3 and may be able to keep some power down there to stop Jahidi White from setting up down low. Back pass.
Turnover. Last touch by Andre Davis of Charlotte, so the Hoyas will keep it.
Well, you can see how Georgetown trying so hard to get that ball in Page's hands. And that defense by UNC Charlotte, which is now man-to-man, when they go into that box and 1, they're really packing it down inside.
Jahidi White had to that one home. That's his first field goal of the day. Back to an 8-point game.
But a very nice tactic by John Thompson to go down with the power game inside, get Yaya Dye to go ahead and rebound off of it and take away some of that pressure on Page.
That's Ed Sheffy's 4th.
Here we see Jahidi White backing in Alexander Cool. No call by the official there, and I think wisely so. A good soft layup. See, he gets the ball inside, powers. Cool gets knocked off balance. You know, you think about this Georgetown team, everybody thinking Allen Iverson, but you know, Othello Harrington was the 30th guy drafted last year in the NBA, and of course Jerome Williams was also a first-round draft choice. So 3 big factors in the Georgetown program the last few years, no longer there.
Lane violation, DeMarco Johnson.
Well, he's not only not scoring, he's taking away baskets from his teammates now. Really having an off game for the first team all-conference performer from Conference USA.
Down to the 7-minute mark remaining. It's Charlotte by 9 over Georgetown. Conference USA against the Big East here. That's Davis, the defensive stopper, with the block. But Victor Page got it right back. He does a 360. Can't knock it down. And DeMarco Johnson, the strong Charlotte rebound.
Talk about some pretty good timing by Davis on that block. He wanted it. Now here's Colson on Page. Let's see if they go ahead and try to use him. I think Melvin Watkins used to be a very outstanding guard in college, and there's the switch by Georgetown. Didn't let him set it up. Nice move by both coaches.
First-year coach against a 25th-year coach here. But Watkins has been an assistant for a long time, and as a head coach, he loves having a guy like Sean Colson. Little shake and bake there, and he has 17.
Well, Watkins assisted under Jeff Mullins and played under outstanding coaches like Lee Rose, who's doing a fine job now with the Charlotte Hornets, and Bill Foster, so he's been well trained.
18 years he waited for this chance. Yaya Ja with the jumper, and that's 8 for him. 5:45 remaining. 49ers over the Hoyas by 9. There's Downs. He drills the 3.
And Colson made that play by recognizing the double team trap coming at him. The best thing you can ever do is anticipate the trap, make the play before it gets there, and he did just that.
Shanderick Downs shot 49% from three-point range in conference play this year. He's got a pair of threes in this game.
And Davis chasing Page everywhere.
And Sheffy answers with his second three of the day.
Is that the first jump shot we've seen in what seems like the entire game from Georgetown?
5:05 remaining, and it stays a 9-point game as we're trading trays all over the place. Colson trying to break down Damon Jackson on the dribble.
Well, Jackson has fouls to give, and he's trying to use a lot of body on Colson. Colson awful quick with that crossover.
Shot clock inside 10. There's a little push.
Jackson did a fine job the whole time moving his feet, and at the last second, when he gets it down to 9 seconds, does the hand check and gets called.
Little shot clock panic there on the part of the defender. Versal Shaw, the story of this game for North Carolina Charlotte, is back in.
And that, Bob, is a very good point. You know, you're guarding a guy out front. You know he wants to hold it down to under the 10-second mark. The clock becomes another one of your teammates if you can get him down inside 6. So keep moving your feet. Don't reach out with the hands.
Oh, Colson way short with it, just off the front of the iron. 78% shooter. Melvin Watkins a part of most of UNC Charlotte history in terms of wins, postseason play, and another chapter here today. His team on top by 10 with 4:40 remaining. This is Ed Sheffy for Ja, and he's got 2 in a row. 10 for Yaya today.
Just can't put Georgetown away.
And they're staying in it with shooting.
They're shooting over 50% in this half after shooting 29% in the first half.
Colson away from the trap for DeMarco Johnson. On top for Downs.
A little early to sit on the ball here. DeMarco Johnson didn't catch the ball and try to do something offensively. There's Colson.
He takes a hit. Maybe it goes in.
Can you believe this?
How can you hit that shot with a guy 290 running into you?
Laying it on the arm. That's the second shot that Colson has made down the wire here. The first one with Page draped on him, and that time Jahidi White hits him. Colson is on the way back down. The referee basically almost turned on it and didn't see that the shot went in. This is some shot. He's ridden about 2 feet out of the way and still makes it.
Billy, I think he took the shot as an afterthought after the aftershock of Jahidi White running into it.
Well, a pretty good rule for young kids, though, to remember. And there's the tap back to Marco Johnson.
Yep.
Nice play.
Big possession here. We move under the 4-minute mark remaining. Charlotte on top of Georgetown by 10. The winner of this game will take on the winner of our next game, which is Utah Navy, number 2 against number 15. And there's DeMarco with a basket for the first time in this half.
Well, what UNC Charlotte did well that time is go ahead and get the ball down inside when they saw the trap coming and affect their offense instead of trying to play a delay game. Good help by Shaw. And there he is again. Boy, he is playing an intelligent game out here today. Big numbers, but really using his head well, too. They're going to have to trap a lot earlier. They're giving up too much time off the clock.
Colson, then down to Cool. What a big-time rejection by Jahidi White there. There's Jackson taking a reach from Colson.
Nice piece of sportsmanship by Colson. Realized he reached out. Jackson was in a little bit of trouble being up in the air. Then goes over and helps him up off the floor. Here's Cool. You've got to finish this off. If you're 7 feet tall, you get the perfect pass inside at least to get fouled. Good block by Jahidi White.
Georgetown with 20 turnovers today. Boubacar Awa's back. Joseph Tuomu follows him as Jahidi White takes a seat. And to the line, Damon Jackson.
Last year, Georgetown had a nice run in the NCAA tournament, beating Mississippi Valley, then a good win over New Mexico, then that win over Texas Tech when it looked like Texas Tech was going to really make a solid run, having beaten North Carolina, and then finally ran into John Camby, Camby and Marcus Camby and John Calipari losing to Massachusetts.
Yeah, losing decisively 86-62.
You know, and UNC Charlotte has not won an opening round game in the last 3 trips to the NCAA tournament.
They're 3 minutes away.
Bench was looking for a 5-second call. Rebound to Welch. The Eagles the ball and a 5-point lead with 3.5 to go.
Larry Davis still hasn't scored. 0 of 6 from the field. He was only 1 of 7 from three-point line last week in the loss to Georgia. So continues his struggle. Terrific pass, great basket.
Warwick the bucket. He'll go to the line, and they're starting to feel it over there on the Coppin State bench.
Offensively doing what they want against the Gamecock defense. Terrific pass inside, and the finish and the foul. Coppin State on a roll.
Ward buries the free throw. We've got a timeout. 3:16 to go. Fang and his kids are up by 8.
Here.
In the day, it was going to be a rocky road for the favorites. South Carolina in danger of becoming the 3rd #2 seed to lose to a 15. I had the pleasure of doing one of those games as Santa Clara knocked off Arizona a few years back. Richmond and Syracuse back in 1991, the other one. Here's Mackey outside. Mackey. Blocking foul on Brockington.
Not many times Mackey has been that aggressive with the basketball. They're now more not quite in a panic state, but they realize situation right now. 3:05 left, down 8. Tempo has to change offensively for them and defensively. Boy, I think of this Coppin State ball club. They were down 19 in the first round of the MEAC tournament to Maryland Eastern Shore. Came back. Singletary, the guy we're talking about, had 29. They won that one in overtime. Won the championship game in overtime, North Carolina A&T. They have been on a little bit of a roll, so they have some confidence going into this last 3 minutes.
Not a lot of confidence on that South Carolina bench right now.
No, long faces right now. They're trying to find a way now, full court pressure.
2-possession game.
Good job by Watson early, denied Singletary the basketball. Singletary went and got the ball.
Brockington blocking foul is going to be called. No basket. After that earlier one in the South Carolina end, I think the Coppin State bench wanted this to count.
They're making about everything they throw up right now, Mike. There's the block by Mackey, and then didn't see the release, but the ball still went in the hole. We talked about their free throw shooting team. 13th in the country as a unit. This is where they want to be down the stretch.
19 on the afternoon for Antoine Brockington. 8 of 9 at the line. Well, you can't say enough about the poise with which Coppin State has played.
Well, the
today.
effort's been unbelievable. Offensively, they've done the right things. Defensively, they have shut South Carolina out by a zone defense. Matchup zone, and South Carolina now playing more frustrated, playing harder than they have the whole ball game.
Well, they were letting them play underneath there, too. Finally, the whistle and foul will go on William Gallman.
Replay down low, you're going to say, are letting them play. Watson thought he had a chance to get the ball, but now Gallman will get caught for the push right there.
Jeepers. How about no fouls, if you can lip read there? That was the instruction of Ron Mitchell. Coppin State living up to being 13th in the country. 10 more attempts at the line. And they just continue to bury them.
Yeah, South Carolina, 27 of their 31 ball games, they had more free throw attempts, but not this afternoon. Against the zone defense, they have stood around and just not done anything against it.
Kareem Lewis misses that one. 67-58. The Gamecocks need points, and they need them in a hurry. 2:35 to go. Stack finds Mackey. Mackey, another move to the basket. Partially blocks. I don't understand that call, John.
Did he say it hit behind the basket?
Let's take a look.
Take a look here. Look at the defense. The help side defense. Looks like he got fouled a little bit across the arm.
Yep.
Can't tell if it hit something back there. If it did.
I think it just went behind the basket, and therefore is ruled out of bounds. Last touch by Coppin State.
Good call by the officials.
Excellent break for Eddie Fogler here. 2:30 to go. 67-58. His club is down 9.
Need a basket, need a little momentum. Something to change this last 2.5 minutes for South Carolina.
Ball comes out deep to Gallman. Brockington and Mackey got tangled up off the ball. Mackey back on his feet now. Slashes to the basket. He'll get himself to the free throw line. South Carolina trying to get points on the board with the clock stopped. 2:22 to go.
Mackey labeled maybe one of the toughest of the South Carolina players. Very strong with the basketball. You can tell when he puts it on the floor, he goes with authority. Maybe a little bit too late to do those things. Didn't do much of that this whole ball game.
Second foul on Lewis. Carlisle back in.
But this is what you want to have happen if you're South Carolina. No clock is running off. You get to the free throw line, get a couple points, get your defense set. But you don't want misses.
No, you don't. Mackey trying to get it under 3 possessions. His club down 9. He makes it 8. Double figures for Mackey, 10. Singletary will bring it up against the pressure. Ward gets it across to Lewis.
Good job by Coppin State. Now Singletary with the basketball, very good with the ball. He has been able to shake down Watson when he's wanted to and create his shots or get shots for his teammates.
Coppin State's about to take this under 2 minutes.
Little pick and roll.
There goes Singletary. Singletary will take it.
Oh my. Over the top of Carlisle.
11 is the lead.
And the steal by Mr. Singletary.
What a game Danny Singletary has played in the second half. Brockington. I'm not sure what South Carolina's doing here.
You know, it's interesting. They can't even catch up really to the basketball. Slow foot all afternoon, and Coppin State is having a time here in Pittsburgh, and this crowd is enjoying this.
Coppin State's not only winning this game, they're busting South Carolina out of here. Davis finally gets a field goal, and South Carolina calls a timeout. But we are under a minute, and Coppin State is up 11. Don't go away. Cinderella truly has arrived.
And against Southern Cal, they were up 20 at the half.
And then just went south in the second half in both games.
So they did some bouncing back after the first of the year once they got into conference play to go 10-4.
And that may be one of the reasons why they didn't get a lot of respect around the country. You know, early in the season, December, the team goes down, and it takes a long while to come back.
DeMarco Johnson on the foul at the line. Yaya Ja. Possibly his last few minutes as Ahoya.
Young guy who, as a senior in high school in Washington, D.C., averaged 3 points, 3 rebounds a game. So to go from that position to where he has this year, leading the Big East in rebounding, quite an accomplishment.
He knew as many languages as he scored points per game. Fluent in English, French, and one of his native tongues out of Senegal. We're in the final minutes, 75-62, North Carolina, Charlotte. And the reach around by Damon Jackson, his fourth. Chevrolet most valuable players of this game. Is there any doubt who it is for North Carolina Charlotte? A guy named Versal is the man we honor today. He came into this game today averaging 4 points and 4 rebounds a game, and he has one of his great days ever as a 49er of UNC Charlotte. His teammate DeMarco Johnson was expected to be one of the big offensive forces today, but with Johnson not able to get it done, Versal Shaw with 19, a career high, gets it done. At the other end, as we mentioned, Boubacar Al kept the Hoyas afloat when everybody else was sinking at the offensive end.
And we talk about Johnson. We're talking about a guy, 23 double-doubles, and today kind of just disappeared offensively. Couldn't get, he was 0 for 5 in the first half, and didn't turn it around here much in the second half either.
Chevrolet will donate $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund to reward outstanding students for their academic achievements and to assist those in financial need. Final 45 seconds. Victor Page for 3. He's got it. Georgetown will let things play on for the moment. 20 for Victor Page today.
And there was a case. Colson tried to block the jump shot by Page. When he didn't get it, he ran to half court. Consequently, he wasn't back for the inbound situation. UNC Charlotte throws it away.
40 seconds to go. Charlotte by 11. Victor Page out. They're shuttling. Oh, he goes down. That's Godwin Owinji, who appears for the first time today and knocks down a 3. Dominguez Bundy, he's a 3-point shooter. They call him 3D. And a grab at midcourt by Shenard Long. 25.8 seconds remaining.
Wendy had not made a three-pointer all year. Comes in there and just buried that one.
Yeah, with a man in his face.
Johnson picking up some points now, going to this foul line here, latter stages of this game.
Just now into double figures, half of his average. Jahidi White is a junior. Victor Page is sophomore. Looks like the Hoyas will finish 20 and 10. For Charlotte, it'll be 22 and 8 and on to the second round. There's Owinji again for 3. Way long with it. That's
Long keeps it alive.
Yeah, Brendan Carn down there. Some of the folks are dying for him to knock a shot down here in the final 10 seconds. 78-67 Charlotte. Rebound, a strong one by Shanderick Downs, and a foul in the backcourt. Charlotte to face either second seed Utah or 15th seed Navy. That's our next game coming up here in Tucson. Burrell Watkins and the whole family having a great time on the far side.
And how about that coach's decision to start Shaw today? Huh?
It's the decision of the tournament so far.
Pretty good move.
Victor Page came into this tournament 16 of his last 57 from the field. Got off to a slow start today. Final second, and this one is over. 79-67, and for Charlotte, it's on to the second round. That's it from Tucson. Let's go back to New York and Pat O'Brien.
Thank you, Bob. Georgetown loses its first tournament opening game in 16 years. History is about to be made as well out in Pittsburgh. Coppin State about to upset the number 2 seed. Let's go to Mike Gorman at courtside.
Truly a shocking result here in Pittsburgh with 29 seconds to play as the Eagles of Coppin State have dominated down the stretch. This wasn't a game where Coppin State jumped out in front and then held on. This was a game where Coppin State was behind a good part of the game, just wouldn't go away, and then they looked like the team that should be in the country's top 10 down the stretch here, John.
Yeah, give credit to Frank Mitchell. Came in here, didn't play any man-to-man defense, really a matchup zone that befuddled South Carolina a little bit. They were lethargic against it, and then offensively they handled the basketball, got the shots. They didn't try to stall or slow the game down. They averaged 79 points. They wanted the tempo. They got a decent tempo to the game, but I thought defensively they were outstanding.
22 for Danny Singletary, the 6-foot junior out of Patterson, New Jersey. Brockington nearly came up with a steal right here at half court. South Carolina came out flat, and they are going to leave flatter.
Yeah, disappointing afternoon after an outstanding season. A lot of expectations in the tournament, and now all down the drain.
Welch has been a man on the backboards all day. Comes up with another rebound, then lost it. Mackey able to lay it in. Lewis got stripped. Mackey takes it in. No. And the foul is going to be on Mackey. Had a chance to lay it in and maybe make it interesting, get it back to 5.
Yeah, one of those afternoons.
Back to 10, rather, but... P.J. Mackey fouls out. But Ron Fang Mitchell and his Coppin State Eagles are going to become the third number 15 seed since the team went, the NCAA tournament rather, went to 64 to knock off a number 2, and Coppin State will get Texas on Sunday, and South Carolina is heading home. This is a team, as you mentioned, John, really almost got eliminated from their own conference tournament. Had a couple of comebacks, finally won the championship game in overtime. But no bigger win in Coppin State history. The crowd favorite now in Pittsburgh. You want to dance?
Outstanding from start to finish. Coppin State now has the Texas on Sunday.
Big days for Danny Singletary. Antoine Brockington at 20. Turquin Mott leaves with 11. And Coppin State plays again on Sunday.
Be a good matchup again, an up-tempo game Sunday.
And there's our final score. Coppin State 78-65. Number 15 has knocked off number 2, and they will take on Texas on Sunday. New Mexico, Old Dominion, Louisville, UMass. Still to come later on this evening here from Pittsburgh. The genuine Chevrolet players of the game, Danny Singletary from Coppin State and Ryan Stack from South Carolina. Here in Pittsburgh, the final score, Coppin State 78, South Carolina 65. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports, home of the NCAA Basketball Championship.
Kellogg, if you think you're having a deja vu from 1993, Santa Clara, and a deja vu from 1991 in Richmond, you're right, you're having one. A huge upset. The biggest upset of the tournament so far is a 15 upsets the number 2 seed.
Well, they matched up well, did Coppin State. They did a nice job in their matchup zone defense, turned South Carolina over early, and they were sharp from start to finish, Pat, and with that gained confidence as the game went on.
How about the SEC losing a 3 in Georgia and now a 2 in South Carolina?
Well, we talked about it before we came on the air today. We talked about the possibility of some lower seeded teams being knocked off. I didn't know it would be those two, though.
All right, down in Charlotte, there's 6 minutes and 45 seconds left in this contest. Illinois leads by only 3 in the second half. Let's go courtside to Tim Brando and George Raveling.
Our score, having to do more on his own in the second half. Now, Gandy's been available to him at times, but Turner's been negated by the perimeter pressure from USC. Tonight coming up, Providence Marquette. Talk of defense. Mike Dean's club can get it done. Dodd Shamgod will be the penetrating guard that he'll have to deal with from the Friars, Old Dominion, New Mexico. Temple in Mississippi, and St. Mary's taking on Wake Forest as Tim Duncan makes his way.
What the Providence players won't like about Marquette is that they guard you. They don't want you to score. And I don't think the Providence players think that that's fair.
There's some foul difficulties for both teams to deal with in today's game. This game is ultimately going to be won at the line. Garris gets there. Do the Trojans have enough? They tied it earlier. Now they can't watch down the stretch. NCAA tournament, one must have guards, and Lon Kruger, a great one for Jack Hartman as a player, had his. Steve Henson and Mitch Richmond at Kansas State, Craig Brown and Dan Cross on this very floor in '94 during the Final Four, and now Kejuan Garris and Matt Heldman.
And what's characteristic of those guards is they have excellent court savvy, the ability to create scoring opportunities for themselves, and yet keep the other four players involved.
On that dump down, Jaha Wilson was fouled. And Gandy picks up his third. Roderick Rhodes looking over that zone for Henry Bibby and finding Jaha.
I fully expect that Henry Bibby will offer a couple new defensive looks that will involve trapping. What they need to do right now is to interrupt Illinois' offensive rhythm and create some turnovers that'll lead to easy baskets. If you don't create turnovers that lead to easy baskets, it puts severe pressure on your half-court offense to execute in a plentiful manner.
They have struggled at the line as a team in this second half. And in the double bonus, both teams are going to get there. There's the trap. And they get into the right man's hands.
And it's obvious that Illinois is attacking the pressure to set up its half-court offense and not to score. They are not going to be suckered into rushing into their offense.
They're going to dig into that clock. Shot clock now winding down to near 10. Turner off the dribble. His first points of the second half. He had 16 at the intermission. The ability to create for yourself down the stretch, and the lead back up to 8. 2:35 and counting.
All of a sudden, Roderick Rhodes has become too unselfish.
Player control foul against USC.
I believe that Roderick Rhodes feels now that he must lead by example and share the basketball, but they also need him to create some offense for himself.
Gary Williams picking up his fourth foul. And another opportunity for the Illini to take time off that clock. Precious time. And with Garris leading the way, you know he'll either get fouled or get a finish. Like that. 4 points for Johnson as Garris continues to feed and fan low post players. And Rhodes gets the lay-in, 81-73.
And just as I called it, Roderick Rhodes must involve himself more at the offensive end of the floor. Here's Kejuan Garris drawing the defense to him time and time again, and more importantly, making the right decision with the basketball.
And the explosion on the sideline for the Illini. Garris, all of his experiences here in the NCAA tournament, bad ones.
Tim, he's been on the foul line enough this game that we ought to charge him rent. His 8th foul shot attempt in the last 3 minutes.
All Big Ten for 3 straight years. In his first NCAA, they lost to Georgetown. In his second, they lost to Tulsa. Last year, in Lou Henson's last year, they did not manage to make the field of 64. And the foul spotted.
Roderick Rhodes has to realize that if he's assertive and aggressive offensively, he can accomplish the same thing that Garris has. You draw the defense to you. When you're a marquee player, you've got a bullseye on your jersey. People are going to come and defend you. Now you distribute it for easy baskets.
1:52 to play. The lead pushed up to 10.
When I say facts are
On Kejuan Kejuan Garris wanting to have some success in the NCAA tournament. Well, so did Jerry Hester, but he was lost for a season with back surgery. Once lost, he decided to work on his broadcasting skills. And in fact, when he learned that he could not go to the women's tournament to work radio because he had been calling some of the Illini games on radio during the period of time in which he was convalescing, he said, I really wanted to go there, but Coach Kruger said, you know, I really need you for practice. So he's been their best player for the scout team, but still wants to be a broadcaster. I told him that once you get the microphone, it's a special feeling.
I listened to you give him advice, and I thought you gave him some outstanding advice about for any person that wanted to pursue a career in broadcast.
The biggest key to that advice was telling him to remain a color analyst.
Thanks, buddy.
Here's Walker. Loose ball, Garris on the deck, out of bounds to USC. UNC Charlotte a winner today. Tulsa's tradition rolls on in NCAA tournament play. And Rick Barnes finally coming away with his first NCAA tournament win as a coach. He took Providence in a couple of times, but couldn't get it done. Pete Gillen gets his crack tonight. Illinois has made every big shot when it counted at the free throw line. Look at that in this half. Therein lies the difference in this game. Both teams in the double bonus since 8 minutes remained. We're down to 123. And what was a tie game at 69 is now a 10-point Illini cushion.
And Garris had a lion's share of those made 12 for 12. He went 8 for 8.
Now it's Heldman's turn for Illinois.
And didn't you know we jinxed it?
That's some other advice I gave Jerry Hester, by the way, was that never talk about a free throw shooter prior to the shot. That part of the game's never changing. 84-73. USC's improbable run into the NCAA tournament will come to an end after a tremendous comeback in the second half. Had to expend a lot of energy, though. And in the end, it was Garris to Gandy again and again. Points for Gandy, and Garris is due in large part to all 20. A double-double, 25 points, 11 assists. Gandy with a career high, and Kejuan Garris, a double-double for him. Our Chevrolet players of the game, Roderick Rhodes, really lifted his team when Stace Bozeman got into foul difficulty here in the second half. He did all he could.
He talked about the 25 points by Kejuan Garris. He's now made 14 foul shots in a row. I probably should have waited until after he finished shooting. If he misses these, I know you're going to say I jinxed him, but he's now has made 14 in a row.
Pat O'Brien and Clark Kellogg will be coming up after we're done to put in perspective what has been a shocking day. Day 2 of the road to the Final Four. Here we have seen a 14 seed knock off a 3 seed. And in Pittsburgh, the first number 2 seed knocked out as Garris leaves the game. What a moment for that young man, finally in the win column in the NCAA tournament. Elias Ayoso back in the game. Can't hit there. Wilson, boy, he has just been relentless on the offensive boards, and he draws the foul underneath from Gandy. The Illini will advance to take on Tennessee Chattanooga. Mac McCarthy's team awaits after knocking off Georgia. And tonight, Marquette and Providence, our feature game, and Duke and Murray State. You know, I borrowed when mentioning of Coppin State years ago when Murray State knocked off Jim Valvano's NC State team in '88. He told all the coaches in the ACC, don't ever play a state that's not a state. You can really be in trouble, and unfortunately, South Carolina played Coppin State today, and they felt the wrath of Ron Mitchell's team.
Well, I call him Fang Mitchell because That's his nickname.
11 years there out of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, and they've produced some outstanding teams. You think of North Carolina A&T, the success that program has had through the years. Johnson saving it into the arms of Heldman. He's triple teamed. USC gets the steal. Oso.
All intent and purpose, this game's over. It's just a question now of how costly you want to make the funeral.
Johnson spreading it out a bit further now in the closing seconds. 90-75. It was a 15-point game at the intermission. As the cliche goes, the final score not at all indicative of the way this game was played, particularly in the second half. But the Illini advance. Lon Kruger takes 6th-seeded Illinois to round 2 against Tennessee Chattanooga by a final score of 90-77. Clark Kellogg and Pat O'Brien will be coming your way after this commercial word. For George Raveling, Tim Brando, so long for now from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Rather, CBS News with an update on...
I'm Pat O'Brien and Clark Kellogg. We're still here, and I want to show you something. This is an eraser. No fair using it on your brackets,
no,
right?
You got to put the brackets in the shredder, or you've got a lot of whiteout on them because what happened earlier is
we have some unlikely matchups coming up here on the NCAA tournament. Some huge upsets today. Coppin State upsetting South Carolina will now move on to play Texas. 6 years ago today, a 15, that was Richmond, and a 14, Xavier. Both won on the same day, something about the day before the Ides of March. How about this matchup on Sunday?
Up-tempo game. It should be fun to watch. This will be played on roller skates. Both teams like to get out in the open court.
Earlier today, the number 3 seed in the Southeast, Georgia, went down to Chattanooga, and now Chattanooga faces Illinois. It just beat USC.
Another game that should be determined on the perimeter. Kejuan Garris had a tremendous game against USC this afternoon.
Perhaps Georgia is seated too highly. We'll read about that controversy now. Out in the Midwest, you want a war? Well, you've got one on Sunday afternoon, a 5-4 game, Tulsa and Clemson.
Old-fashioned physical play in the paint. Both teams mirror each other. Physical, tough defensively, and relatively deep.
Smash-mouth basketball in the Midwest. And then out in the West, of course, UNC Charlotte beat Georgetown this afternoon. They'll play the winner of Navy and Utah. Utah leads that game early, 10-8. Let's get you up to date on what's going to happen tonight. Jim Nance steps into the chair, and here are the games he's got for you, along with Clark Kellogg, Providence, and Marquette. Old Dominion and New Mexico. Temple and Mississippi. Can Ole Miss solve Temple's matchup zone, Clark?
Well, it's always tough when you talk about doing that. You've got to make perimeter shots. An interesting matchup, that ODU New Mexico at 3-14. That'll be one to keep a close eye on.
You know, you talk about all the people leaving basketball. We've got some seniors here of note. You're going to see one tonight at 7:55 Eastern Time. Wake Forest, Tim Duncan. Also Keith Van Horn, a senior, playing this afternoon. Brevin Knight's a senior. But what about that matchup?
Stanford against Oklahoma. That's another one. Corey Brewer, Nate Urban. If they play big, Oklahoma has a chance. Louisville, UMass as well. A very interesting matchup.
Excuse me. I want to get all these in because our first look at Duke tonight. Then UMass and Louisville. You're saying watch out Louisville on this one, right?
UMass has played well late. Their front line is strong where Louisville is weak inside.
Southwest Texas and Minnesota, then Oklahoma and Stanford. And one game left this afternoon. They're underway. 10-8 to score the first half. We'll get you up to date on that, as Jim Nance will later tonight. Thanks for watching our coverage of the tournament. Enjoy your night games. See you.